The noon sun was a hard coin tossed across the sky, burning white over a land that hadn't known kindness in months. Heat shimmered on the fences, over the skull of a steer long gone, over dry grass whispering secrets only the wind could carry. On that long road of dust and distance, a woman came limping toward the Baxter ranch, her crutches sinking deep into the baked earth, her breath short but steady. Her name was Alexa, 25. Bone small will enormous. Each step sounded like defiance tapping against silence. The townsfolk had said she wouldn't last the week. The blacksmith's wife had muttered she should have stayed where her kind of broken belonged, indoors, invisible. But Alexa kept walking, one heartbeat at a time, until the ranch gate rose before her like the end of a prayer. She brushed sweat from her brow and whispered the line she'd rehearsed for miles. "Please, sir, I'll work for food. I don't eat much." Her voice cracked on the word work, like she still didn't believe it belonged to her. The place smelled of horses and sunlight on iron. From the barn came the rhythm of hammer on nail, patient, exact. Then she saw him, Axel, 33, broad-shouldered, the sort of quiet a man earns only after burying a few dreams. He stepped into the light, sleeves rolled, straw between his teeth, eyes the color of weathered cedar. Watchful but not unkind. Silence stretched between them long enough for dust to settle like a curtain. "I ain't worth a job, sir," she said softly. "You'll fire me too." Axel's brow twitched, surprise flickering in his eyes. That too carried a story he didn't know yet. He studied her, crutches whittled from mismatched wood, dress hanging loose over scarred knees. "You lookin' for pity or wages?" he asked. "I'm lookin' for something to do that ain't dyin'," she said. He let out a quiet breath that almost sounded like a laugh. "You any good with a broom?" "I can try," she said. "I clean slow, but I clean honest." He nodded toward the trough. "Start there. See if the dust listens to you better than it does to me." She lowered herself, scrubbing slow, careful. Each motion sent ripples across the water, reflections of effort and pride. Axel leaned on a fence post, arms crossed. The sun glared on, but the air felt different now, expectant somehow. When she finished, she waited. Boots approached, steady and close. "You missed a spot," he murmured. She stiffened, shame rising, until she caught the faint curve of his smile. "You'll do," he said. "We start early here. Roosters don't wait for pride." Her eyes glistened, but she only nodded. Pride was the one thing she could still lift. Days unfolded slow as honey. The ranch breathed like a living thing, boards creaking, hens gossiping, wind flirting through the curtains. Alexa moved through it like someone trying to earn her place in a painting. She milked cows while Axel repaired saddles. She swept the porch till it gleamed. He noticed she hummed under her breath when she thought no one was near. Half-tunes with no words, the hum of survival. In return, he left small mercies. The easy buckets, the lighter pails, the stool raised just enough for her reach. They spoke little, but something wordless began to bloom, as steady as dawn after a cold night. The town, though, the town never missed a whisper. At Miller's store, a ranch hand snickered. "Axel's keepin' that cripple girl. Must be loneliness talkin'." Laughter followed, sharp as broken glass. Alexa felt their words ride the wind. She didn't answer, but every whisper landed like a stone. That night, she sat on her narrow bed, staring at her worn boots. By morning, she decided to go. She packed her shawl, one slice of bread, and limped toward the gate as the horizon blushed with sunrise. Axel was already there, arms crossed, eyes calm. "Something I said?" he asked. "No, sir," she said, forcing a smile. "Just the town saying enough for the both of us." He reached out, took one crutch before she could protest, steadying her by the elbow. "Town never fixed a fence worth looking at," he said quietly. "Let him talk." The world paused. A hawk cried overhead, the only witness. She looked up at him, sweat shining at his throat, eyes steady as a promise, and something inside her loosened. She didn't thank him. Gratitude would have broken the spell. Instead, she stayed. That evening, they ate stew thick with beans. Silence thick with things neither dared name. The lamplight turned their shadows into a kind of companionship. Alexa's heart, forgotten warmth, now burned slow, cautious, alive. She thought, he ain't kind out of duty. He's kind 'cause he remembers what it costs not to be. Summer deepened. Grass turned gold. Alexa learned the rhythm of a ranch, Axel's boots at dawn, the horse's breath, the rasp of wheat against her skirt. Sometimes she caught him watching her, just a glance, a nod, quiet approval. Sometimes he left her small tokens, a polish button, a folded note that said you did fine. Each gesture stitched her spirit back together more than any sermon could. Then came the storm. The sky swelled dark and heavy. She tried lifting a bucket of wet hay alone. The ground slickened. Her crutch slid. One heartbeat she was upright. The next she was in the mud, pain screaming up her leg. Rain broke open above her, merciless. Told you, she muttered through tears. I'm no good for this world. Boots thundered through the rain. Axel dropped beside her. Don't move, he said. He lifted her, arms trembling, eyes fierce. She pushed weakly at his chest. Let me down. You'll see I ain't worth the trouble. But he carried her anyway. Into the house, into warmth. You think I hired you 'cause you're quick? He asked, voice rough. You think I keep you here for chores? Hell, I ain't had peace since before you limped through that gate. Then you came, and the silence finally made sense. Her eyes widened. Don't talk like that, she whispered. It'll hurt worse when you remember what I am. What you are, he said softly, is the only honest thing that's walked this porch in years. Rain drummed like a wild heartbeat. She turned her face away, tears mixing with storm water. You'll regret saying that. I ain't regretted kindness yet, he said. He stayed all night, changing the cloth on her ankle, humming a tune half forgotten from boyhood. When dawn came, she woke to find him asleep beside her chair, hat in his lap, head bowed. Something inside her, something rusted shut, opened. Days passed. She healed slow. He scolded her softly when she tried too much, but there was warmth now, not command. At twilight, they'd sit by the corral, watching the sun drown in gold. She told him her past, a father who left, doors that closed with pity first and silence next. Axel listened, jaw tight, eyes soft. When she finished, he said only, "You're here now." 3 words that rebuilt a whole world. By midsummer, the air smelled of hay and promise. Alexa stepped out onto the porch, standing free of one crutch. The sunlight gilded her hair, made her skin glow like forgiveness itself. Axel turned from the trough, water dripping from his hands. Time stopped. Ain't supposed to be out here yet, he said. Ain't supposed to fall in love with my boss either, she said, laughing softly. He froze. Even the wind went still. She bit her lip. Forget I said that. But Axel was already moving, slow, certain. He took off his hat. You think I'd fire the only thing that's made this place feel alive again? Don't jest with me, she whispered. I don't jest, he said. Not with you. He reached into his pocket. A thin silver band, dull with age, bright at the edges. This was my mother's, he said. Never thought I'd find a hand it'd fit better than hers. I don't want you working here no more, Alexa. I want you stayin'. Stayin' how, sir? She asked, trembling. He smiled faintly. As mine if you'll have me. Her answer came as a sob and a laugh all at once. He slid the ring onto her finger. It caught the sun, flashing like water in the desert. Then he drew her close, careful of her leg. Their foreheads touched, and the world went still. Outside, the land breathed again. Later, they stood beneath the cottonwood tree. The ranch glowed amber in the dying light. Alexa leaned against his chest. Never thought I'd end anywhere worth belonging, she said. You built your way here piece by piece, he said. All I did was open the gate. She smiled through tears. You did more than that. You waited. He kissed her forehead, simple and true. Wind hummed through the grass, carrying laughter, soft, unbelievin', alive. If some old wanderer rode by that night, he might have thought it was just another home on the prairie. But he'd be wrong. It was rarer. It was the sound of mercy learning to live. So if you ever think you ain't worth a place in this world, remember the hands that reach without a skin. Why? That's where redemption lives. It don't roar like thunder. It hums quiet, like a woman's breath and a man's vow beneath the open sky.